So part two, because I got on a rant about patriarchy versus matriarchy and deconstructing and all that stuff, and how there's a good portion of the spiritual community who are like, the rising divine feminine, we need to go back to a matriarchal system and blah, 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 blah. But they don't really want a true matriarchal system that heals the planet. They want it for their power, and how it relates to the play dates yesterday in a good way. But to finish the thought, talking about that it's just repeating the same thing in a different font, I want to redefine matriarchy. So for me, if we were to use matriarchy as the answer and response to patriarchy as the thing that heals, we need to define it. So it's women and women-centered, right? Women and mother-centered. It's matrilineal. And I am, as a priestess, in a matrilineal type line, and understanding the blood lineage as well as the mysteries of womanhood and divine feminine work, I have a little authority to speak on this. We aren't just centering women in matriarchy, because we are also centering children and anyone who has been born of a mother, which is literally everybody, every creature, everything that is born comes from a mother. So for me, if we were to use matriarchy as the answer and solution to, if not patriarchy, then what? I would like to redefine it, because it's not centering women. It shouldn't just be centering women. Women should be part for sure, but it is centering instead all people born of a womb, especially the most vulnerable. So when you're born, if you're centering the born part and the human part, you're also centering children. You're centering boys and girls and non-binaries and all of children, just across the board, because those children are the future adults. And then you'll also start centering all adults born of woman or womb, and centering them as, well, they are human. And we can start eliminating the ease in which we dehumanize the other. But centering children is not, so child-free people, just stay with me for a second. Just stay with me. It doesn't mean that you are responsible to take care of other people's children that you don't want to, right? And it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice so much and be uncomfortable because children come first, like they're above everybody else. No, it's just centering them. Centering means consideration. It means considering them kind of first, you know. It comes back to the language around decentering men. If you want to heal your sister wounds and heal and be part of, be a girl's girl, you have to learn to decenter men. That doesn't mean hate men. That doesn't mean eliminate men from your life, but decentering them. When we center something, it means our life puts them in consideration first. So, we do this already. We already sacrifice ourselves to center men. It would just be doing it for children instead, because that would actually give you a return on what you're centering, rather than grown-ass men who want to take your rights away and think you're a child anyway. Go figure. Not only is this about centering children, it's about centering the most vulnerable of our population. So, you may not be a pro-child, and you are totally allowed to have a child-free space. You just go to places where children aren't allowed. But the rest of the world, we need to allow children to exist, to be present, to learn how to be good humans. That being said, that actually increases your compassion and understanding for, say, people who are adults and vulnerable. Do you see where I'm going with this? Disabled folks, marginalized communities, the ones who are disproportionately affected by systems of oppression. And you can absolutely be anti-kid. You want to be a kid-free and you want no kids in your vicinity, whatever. Because patriarchy says that's totally fine. Kids are not supposed to be seen. They're supposed to be seen and not heard because they are just products of our offspring, and they are just extensions of us and not human. They're not people. But if you said that about a disabled person, what does that say about you? Yeah. So that's where I'm going with this, because it does color everything. It covers every single little implicit bias, the ones that you're not explicitly saying out loud or even recognize as ableist, racist, prejudicial in a negative tone, stereotypical. Like, you don't notice it sometimes. And it's important for us to start to notice it. And with matriarchy, you center the most vulnerable. So it's not just children, it's also disabled, especially disabled people. Because, guess what? The far majority of us, humans, will become disabled at some point in our life. There is this thing that we do with the kids. So we say, well, it was your choice to bring these kids into the world. It's your problem. We have the pro-lifers who say every life is precious and we'll take care of it. And then as soon as it's born, it's your fault. You should have closed your legs. This is not, I didn't sign up for that. I don't want my tax dollars going to feed children. Okay, Scrooge. But there's this, and that is an okay rhetoric. And so, but do you see what's happening right now in the world and how it's also towards disabled folks and people of color and LGBTQ folks? And even if you don't agree with their lifestyle of the LGBTQ, because if you believe it's a choice or whatever that nonsense is, it's all related. At some point in your life, you will be disabled. And so the choice to not have children in your life is okay. But how many people become disabled later in life or at another point in life or have disabled children and lose their friends? They lose family because those family and friends are like, well, that's just too much. And I have my own stuff to deal with, and I'm protecting my peace. And I'm sending you thoughts and prayers because I don't want to, it's just too much. And it's a valid thing to want to step back from that, but there's no one else to step in because patriarchy tells us that it's their problem. The disability obviously is maybe they didn't ask for it, but they should have prepared better. They should have had systems in place. They should know how to navigate Medicaid and Medicare so that they can have their needs met. And that is not anyone else's problem but their own. They need to bootstrap it. Do you see how this insidious line of thought from just children can go to that? Because that is exactly what's happening. And that is patriarchy. And centering children, centering the most vulnerable of our community so that they are not only granted access to life and health and a happy upbringing, but also to thrive in whatever way that looks. They don't have to have the nicest and newest and shiniest, because that's capitalism, but they have to have sustainability. They have to have stability. They have to have roof over their heads, food, medicine, support in the form of a community and people. And yes, it doesn't have to be you, but if you grow up in a system that encourages you to be part of the community and to give a little bit so that it's not a burden on anyone, let alone the people who are with their hands in the vulnerable population, hands-on, either raising kids or living as disabled or marginalized people, maybe this world would look a little different and a little better. And it would be just a matter of getting used to it, because the price of community, of care, of life and thriving can be inconvenience or taxes and resources. So I ran out of time again. And what this has to do with the playdate, I had a taste of it, is what I did. I got a taste of true matriarchy, where it was easy. And that's all I wanted to say about it. Take care of yourselves and each other. Love you, bye.